Okay, I think we are live and on camera now. And oops, you can't hear me. And now, okay, hang on. I'm getting this like an echo that I need to solve. First of all, hello everyone. We're going to do a live demo of my tool. And yeah, I think I can deal with the echo. But tell me if you hear it. You should not hear any echo. I'll wait for a minute. Let's just make sure people on the Discord know I'm here. Yeah. Okay. They know. Going to demonstrate the latest UI. Oops. I actually typed in U, like YOUI, latest UI for the OpenTabletArtist. Okay, there we go. There we go. And then later, I still have the echo problem actually happening, but I've muted the echo, but I think I know how to solve it. So let me tell you what my goal is. And we'll, of course, do questions like we always do. There are some things I need to deal with on in the community, questions that need to get answered, a little bit of housekeeping. So we'll do that towards the end. But this session is really to show you the latest of where I have been busy with this new user experience. And I got tremendous feedback from the initial demo we did a few days ago. I think it was on Monday. And Cube joined us as well as someone else from the OpenTablet driver team. And great feedback, suggestions for improvements, things to look at. And I spent a lot of time improving things, a lot of time. And I mean, adding features and making it look better. And I think you're going to be happy with what it does. And another thing I did was just make it more robust because it has to live in an environment where people are randomly trying different machines. So I've actually just installed it on a new machine. So we're going to see what happens and how it will react to your machine when you have a driver installed, like a Wacom driver, and show you the principles of its operation, all these new features, and importantly, its new look. It starts off with a new theme called Sakura. I forgot what Sakura means. I think someone told me it's a blossom. Hey, Nick, good to see you. Mike is okay? Fantastic. Fantastic. I was worried there about the echo. Oh, where's my music? What am I thinking here? Can't have a show without music. Camera. No, I need the music. Ah, there we go. So important to have music. It's so important to have music. Okay, give me just 1 second. I'm going to go get my water because there's a lot to show you, a lot to talk about, and I'm going to need to hydrate for that. I'll be right back. Okay, I am back. Let's see. Nick has made a statement here. When do they update the driver so that PTH60 is now configured via Wacom Center app and not the old school driver? I wasn't aware of that, Nick. I'll take a look at that. In fact, let me go get my PTH660 right now because I'm going to need it to test this. So give me a second. I'll be right back. 1 second. Okay, I'm back. I've got the PTH 660 here and the PTK 670, and I think somewhere here I have my move ink. Oh, it's over there. Okay. And my pen, and yeah. Yeah, okay. There we go. And let me just straighten my clothes out here. Me neither. I just updated Windows, and now it works with Wacom Center. Like Cintiq's. Before it was just old Wacom Properties window. You said the latest version. Can you just in the chat, Nick? Can you confirm which version it is? And I'll double check. And I'm on Windows, so we'll do a quick check of this. Let's see, Wacom Center. What do I have here? I swear they've made this app prettier, but it's harder for me to figure out what's going on. I've got 6.4.13.4, and I don't know if that's the latest version actually. 6.4.13.4. Let's find out, and I'll let you see what I'm doing here, so it's not totally mysterious. Wacom driver. Let's take a look here. .4.13. Okay, that's what I've got. So let's test out the theory here. Let's bring up. First, let's confirm the Wacom Center thing. Okay. So plugged it in. This is PTH 660, and nothing's registering. That could be because of the USB cable. So let me just double check. Oops, there we go. There we go. So let's skip this little welcome thing. Okay, it is there. Express keys, which, is there a quick way to disable these? There is, but it's always like buried here. Oh, see, this is why I hate express keys being enabled. Windows version, I mean the Wacom version, the driver version. I think you and I are using the same thing, but it helps to. How do I turn off all the down buttons? Because what happens is that I'm reaching over the keyboard, my hand hits the buttons, which is why I hate buttons on tablets. Let's see, disable all express keys. There we go. So I'm just going to disable them. Okay, now they're all disabled. I really wish they had a disable express keys right at the top, because that's the first thing I do is disable everything, and then if I want to add something, I add it. Okay, so and I need to touch the pen here. So, yeah, once I do, you see the Pro Pen 2. Now, okay, so clearly, I don't recall that the PTH 660 worked with Wacom Center before to this extent. Now let's take a look at Wacom Tablet Properties, and it is here also. So I'm not. Are you missing features from the old Wacom Tablet Properties? Because I'm not seeing anything missing. I'm just seeing the new features in the new place. So we should probably clarify that. 6.4.13.4. Okay, and let me just check on mine. 6.4.13.4. Okay, so we both got the latest version. Okay. In Wacom Center, I see it, which is good. In Wacom Tablet Properties, I see the tablet also, which is good. So tell me what's different. Maybe I misread you. Maybe I thought you were saying they moved the UI to the Wacom Center. They've added it there, but I don't think they've moved the UI there. Oh, I see. By default, it's opening the Wacom Center now. What do you mean by default? And I guess what I'm saying is normally I open the Wacom Center by clicking the Wacom Center Are you talking about the Express? Yeah, how do you mean by, what is it? When you say by default, it is opening, what is the it in that sentence? Like, what is the action you're taking that's causing the default to be expressed? Yeah, Wacom Center didn't, in my recollection, it recognized the device was there, but you couldn't do much. You basically just, you saw the device. That's my recollection. And I wrote that down at the time I reviewed the 2025 model, because I said there's a difference in how these things work. That's why I bring that up. Or maybe I'm misremembering. But in any case, it is working now, which is good. I mean, I think they want us to use the Wacom Center. Okay, and then should I put this note in the? Yeah, I'll go ahead and do it. I hate to spam the OpenTablet driver people with my silly little vibe-coded app, but I do think some of them might be interested. So I'm gonna copy. I'll paste it there. I'll paste it there. I'll just put it in general. Some big UX improvements. Some big UX improvements. I am demoing soon. Okay, let me paste that in there. I know you can't see what I'm pasting. Just give me a second. Okay. Yeah, I hate to spam them because I'm just this random person. Okay, so let me show you what I got here. So this is just a normal machine. It's literally a new machine. I got it a few weeks ago. It's the new Samsung Galaxy Book Pro. But this is the new UI for OpenTabletArtist. That's the name I came up with this. I think I did that after the meeting, after the stream on Monday. OpenTabletArtist. It went from OpenTablet Driver Windows Helper to OpenTablet Windows Helper to OpenTablet Driver Artist, Artist Helper. Finally, I just said OpenTabletArtist because it hints toward being related to OpenTablet Driver, which of course it is related, without trying to claim that it is OpenTablet Driver. The name also clearly indicates the scenario or the intended audience. It's just for artists, okay? Now, the first thing you're going to notice is there's falling cherry blossoms. There's a live animation, and there's some transparency. You can see even through these cards, the cherry blossoms are falling, okay? Let me just make sure I'm looking at the right Discord. Okay. Why did I do that? Why did I even spend the time doing this? And there are several themes. I'll show you the boring themes. This is the Sakura theme, which again, I think means either flower blossom or flower or cherry blossom. That's the theme. It's supposed to be cutesy and stuff. It's supposed to be colorful. Nick, I don't know if you've seen our discussions on the Discord. We are obsessed with tablets that are not black or gray plastic. Edbot, are you familiar? Good to see you, first of all. What is this? Is Edbot's questions. It's not quite a new tablet driver. So let me back up, since you're new to this. I did stream on this Monday, but let me explain something, okay? So you are used to using tablet drivers from Wacom, Huion, XP Pen, okay? And there is an alternative driver that's available called OpenTabletDriver, OTD. The reason it was created is a community of gamers that play the game Osu needed a hype, and lots of people play Osu with a tablet. Not everybody, but lots do. They needed a high-performance tablet driver, number one. Number two, they needed to work on Linux. That's, I think, a big deal. Number three, their audience has a variety of tablets, and they needed to work across a variety of tablets. Okay? So they built, I'm shortening the story, so I'm leaving out history. I'm just trying to get to the end state. They built OpenTabletDriver. It is a single open, you can see the code on GitHub. It's a single open source driver, and it works with over 300, I think 30 drawing tablets. And it works on Windows, on Mac OS, and Linux, the same code. Let's see, Nick says, I'm okay with clean black tablets. I've seen some guys making custom skins for Intuos, but why? Well, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. There are reasons that, it might surprise you, but we'll see. So they invented this OpenTabletDriver driver, and you have to remember the origin of why they built this driver, which is people are playing a game called Osu. And when they play that game, they have very strict technical requirements. And they use tablets in a different way than we might. For some of them never even touch the tablet. They just hover, by the way, when they play the game. Some of them. Some touch the tablet, some tap. Some drag, some tap and drag. And all sorts of variations. They play on very small, like literally like this size active area, some of them. Some play big, some play small. So they need smaller tablets in general. But they are a more technical audience. They have very specific requirements. And OpenTabletDriver meets their requirements. And it is really not optimized for artists, OpenTabletDriver. It's not optimized in a couple of ways. Number one, it has to do all this OSU stuff, because that's who uses it. Most of the people using OpenTabletDriver are playing OSU. And artists are probably a vanishingly small number. There's a very small overlap. And the OpenTabletDriver doesn't do a lot of things you'd expect a tablet driver to do. I don't want to call them necessarily missing features, though some clearly are. Some of them are just, they have a different approach. So for example, there is no pressure curve. Instead, OpenTabletDriver has the ability to have plugins, where you add plugins that do things like pressure curve and all sorts of things. Great to keep OpenTabletDriver focused on its core mission of high performance for OSU, but less convenient if you're an artist. On top of it, on Windows and tablet drivers are a messed up world. So you need other plugins and drivers installed to work with Windows correctly. So you have pressure. OpenTabletDriver doesn't even have pressure by default. You have to install a plugin for that on Windows. This is one of a fork for OTD for artists. Not quite. Fork would imply that you take their code and you sort of copy paste it and you're modifying it. That's not what's actually happening here. It's more. So let's go back to how OpenTablet works. Okay, what are the real components inside of it? You can think of OpenTabletDriver as two files. I mean, there's many more, but really there's just two in this conversation. There's the driver itself, and the drivers don't have any UI. They're just the low-level piece of code that talks to the tablet, and they talk to the operating system. Okay? They just handle the input and output and the configuration of the tablet. That's it. And then they have UI, which configures the driver. Okay? Now, when we as users, artists, use tablets, we look at the UI, the configuration UI, and we call that the driver. We think of that UI as actually being both pieces, but actually it's just the configuration UI or the monitoring UI. It's not the driver. It's the UI that talks to the driver. So now that you know that, how do we understand OpenTabletArtist? OpenTabletArtist, so OpenTabletDriver has its driver, which is called the daemon, D-A-E-M-O-N, and then it has its UI, which is built on WPF, Windows Presentation Framework. It runs on different OSs. But I think the framework is actually ETO or something, or ETO. But I don't know if they're too happy with it. OpenTabletArtist takes that same driver, doesn't modify it in any way, okay? And I've built just a new UI which talks to the daemon. That's all OpenTabletArtist is. It's just a new UI that talks to the OpenTabletDriver daemon. So I did not fork their code base. This isn't like a special version of OpenTablet Driver. It's not even a special version of the UI. It's a completely parallel user experience. In fact, you could talk to the daemon using both UIs simultaneously. I wouldn't recommend it, because if you change it in one, the other one will be like, hey, you did some weird change. How did this happen? Yeah, and maybe I'll show you that. So you should think of this as an alternative UI, a parallel alternative UI for OpenTablet Driver. Now that being said, the way this is built, it's built in such a way you don't need to think about that. If you're an artist, you'll just install OpenTabletArtist, and you won't realize that there's another piece getting installed. Okay? It sort of hides all that for you. So you can think of this. It'll behave a lot more like the Wacom driver or the Huion driver, the XP Pen driver, and in many ways, it has features that you need. And it has a more similar experience to what an artist would want and what they're used to. So I just want to clarify that. It's not a fork. It just takes their code and uses it, or takes their binaries and uses it. That's a simpler way. For those of you who know Git, I can explain it in a little more technical detail. The OpenTabletArtist, OTA, uses OTD as a Git submodule. So all the code is sort of mirrored over and compiled, okay? Nick Tyler says, first Osu, then talking to demons, someone called The Exorcist. Yes. By the way, Exorcist 3 was a good movie. I think everyone should watch Exorcist 3. Really excellent movie. Actually, let me double check. It's either 3 or 2. And one of them was so good. It had George C. Scott in it. Give me a second. Who was an Exorcist? Exorcist. 2 or 3. No, it's gotta be 2. It's gotta be 2. My mistake. Let me just double check. Yeah, no, sorry. It wasn't who I said. It was Richard Burton. Richard Burton's in it. So good. So good. And it was directed by amazing director John Borman, who did Excalibur, by the way. And then let me just double check. Excalibur. Exorcist 3. I want to make sure I'm not confusing myself. Oh no, I'm both right and wrong. I think I liked Exorcist 2. I really like Exorcist 3 as well. Named Legion. I've heard they want to make a new Constantine movie. I hope so. I love the original Constantine movie. I thought it was fantastic. And I normally do not like movies about demons. I thought it was great. Let's see. Exorcist 3 is based on a different book with the same author named Legion. Oh, I see. Oh, I didn't know that. Well, I thought it's great. George C. Scott is fantastic. George C. Scott is fantastic in that. Okay. So, I clarified how this thing is built. And let me go back to it. So here it is. And this is on a new machine. This is really how most people would interact with it, because the user, me in this case, this machine has Wacom installed. And what do you see here? It actually says somewhere here. It actually tells you at the top, conflicting driver detected, right? It says a manufacturer driver can interfere with OpenTablet Driver, view and remove it in driver cleanup. So you're seeing the first operation of the home screen, which is a place that is trying to, its vision, it's not quite there yet, is to, if something is wrong, it will surface that to you. And you don't necessarily clean it up here, you'll go somewhere else to fix the problem. But whenever you see red or orange, it'll prompt you to take an action to solve it and make it green. I haven't fully implemented that vision, but it's halfway there, and this is the first part. So it's saying there's a manufacturer tablet driver, and let's just see what it is. It says driver cleanup. Oh, and look what it says. Conflicting drivers detected. I'm sorry, it may not be so readable. Wacom. Wacom can cause flaky tablet support, right? And it tells you which file and all this. This is all information OpenTablet Driver collects. I'm just surfacing it for you, right? Now then, here's the tablet driver cleanup tool. Now that's a tool that's on the internet, and you'd have to go find it and download it. But what OTA does is like, okay, well, I'll just download it for you, okay? So you'll click here for install, and it'll just tell you. You don't need admin permissions to install, but let's go ahead and proceed. Yep, it's installed. Now, before you run it, you should actually uninstall with a normal installation. So I'm going to do that with add remove programs. And I'm just doing this to show you this is the reality of how people have to use this. Let's go ahead and find Wacom. It's gonna do a reboot. So let's go ahead and just be honest about that. I always recommend you first uninstall with the manufacturer uninstaller, and then once it's done, you do this cleanup. Okay. Ed says, to be honest, even with the silly, punky, and cherry blossom design, the layout looks pretty well thought out. Well, thank you. I came with the vision, Edbot. I came with the vision for it, and some early ideas before I started implementing. Though it has evolved quite a bit. And you know how it is. You build something, even if you prototype it, what you think you're gonna do, as technical reality sets in. I'm just rebooting, by the way. I'm about to reboot. Because Windows or Wacom requires it to uninstall. So we're just waiting for the reboot to happen. So as you know, you start evolving like, okay, I can there's a little bit of a rough spot here. Let me clean that up. You know, I want to split this apart. So it's gone through a lot of massaging, a lot of polishing. Okay. Now, since you did talk about the silly, punky cherry blossom design, I know it seems like it's a waste of time. Oh, Sack, I don't recommend them. If you're a child, maybe, but 10 inch is too small, and I think T.O.'s commented on that. So yeah, he agrees. It is just too small for a like a Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 or something. That might be okay. The Wacom Moving Pad 11, it's 11 inch, but like 10 is just too small for a pen display. I think you need at least 12. At least 12. Okay, so let me log in here. Sorry, I know you can't see it. Let's see. Okay, so back to the UI. It may seem silly and trivial to add this Sakura blossom design, but it's important. It's actually important. Why? Because I'm trying to send a signal. And I'm trying to show a vision a very trivial vision, that drivers can be beautiful, and drivers, that experience actually, I should say, can be something that is a competitive differentiator. Now you've seen over the years, drivers have gotten better looking. Wacom Sense is a great example. The Sense Labs drivers look pretty good. I'm trying to say, let's take it to the next level. Because overall drivers have kind of stagnated, right? They just sort of all do the same things in very similar ways. Sense Labs has kind of pushed it a little bit, which I'm happy to see. I want to go further. I want them to do way more. Okay. Nick says, there's 2 comments from Nick. They are working on it, and Keanu Reeves confirmed it. Oh, fantastic. Oh, confirmed in it. For me, 13 inches is very small. Display must be at least 16 to keep your eyes on. Yeah, 13 is like I don't normally use it. Like if I have to, I have to, but I don't prefer it. Even 16 is a bit cramped for me, but I can deal with it. Yeah, you don't mind that kind of design as long as it's functional. And yeah, I'm trying to make it functional. I'm also trying to shock the user. I'm trying to just show like, wow, this is different. This is not the same old thing you're used to. It's meant to be, in fact, a little controversial, right? It's meant to be like, wow. In fact, my original vision for the background was not just cherry blossom. This is just like a baby part of the vision. I'm still going to experiment. I tried this actually. I wanted the background of the screen to be a low poly 3D scene with like a sunset with Mount Fuji and the sun setting and like the clouds moving and an actual cherry tree with the blossoms falling and moving through the wind. That was the actual vision for the background. But I just decided, okay, that's getting complicated. Let's just deal with the blossoms first. Then we'll deal with something more interesting. Krita has a similar thing. They have a splash screen, right? Which I like. They have what's their mascot? Kiki the cyber squirrel. I wanted something rich. When I say rich, I mean, not just an image. I mean something that has motion, and like you'd be like, I wanted the user to be like, what is going on with this driver? Like it's unlike anything we've ever seen, without sacrificing functionality, right? And I'll show you. Sakura is just the default theme. There are 2 other themes, which are System, Light, and Dark, and they're just the same boring ass themes you would expect from every other driver, okay? Because I understand sometimes people just want the boring look. Something like, yes, Nick. In fact, I am considering adding. Actually, let me just tell you other themes I'm thinking about adding. Synthwave theme and a Peepo theme. So I am thinking about it. In fact, I did a little drawing of Peepo with a heart symbol, an OTD in the heart. So I thought of putting that as the mascot. We'll see. I just think the Peepo color is a bit too intense though, so I'd have to tone that down. Okay, so let's go back here. It's rebooted. So let me go and find the app again. And we might have to debug something. We don't know how bad or good this is going to go. And that's okay. I've got Visual Studio and Claude installed here, so I'm just gonna let me add a shortcut actually to my desktop. OTA. There we go. What do you think of Wacom? That one Wacom signature pad, Sack asks. You could use it as a drawing tablet that's 10 inches or somebody who wants the cheapest pen display. Because I see them go for 30. I've never tried it, so I don't know how well it would work. I'd have to ask somebody how well it works. I just don't have any experience. If it works for somebody, I'm happy with it. I just don't have any knowledge personally. I've never seen anyone use it in that way. If they have, send me a link. Okay, so now look what it says. So there's no warning about Wacom, okay? Now this is all green, so we don't need to worry about it, okay? No, it's connecting the OpenTablet driver daemon. Now this says vMulti is not installed. So on Windows, because it's Windows, we need to install an actual other driver called vMulti. Now, in normal OpenTablet driver world, you have to go find this driver and install it, and there's gonna be a reboot, maybe. Well, guess what? Here, you just click install, and it's gonna tell you, hey, it may restart your computer, so we're gonna try doing this. And I'm gonna give it a second, because who knows, maybe it's not gonna work. Did it install it or not? Let me refresh. Oops. Maybe not. I clicked no, maybe I clicked yes. Sometimes I just click the wrong, there we go. Installer exited with code 2. The driver may not be installed. Huh? Check vMulti status. Refresh. We may need to... Let's try it again. Okay, we have to do a little bit of debugging. Can users make themes themselves? Right now, no, but I have a work item for that, Sack. I do want people to have some amount of customization. I don't know if you'd be able to do a animation, because this is that's coded, but replacing the background and picking some colors, yeah. By the way, let me just show you the themes while I'm at it. So there's Sakura, there's System, so it's totally boring, right? Light, dark, etc. There's dark. Nothing exciting, but Sakura is really customized. And one thing about Sakura is you can actually change the opacity of the cards. The cards can be completely opaque, or you can actually dial this all the way back down to be almost completely transparent. If that's what you like, I don't recommend that. It's hard to read the text. I like to keep it around, somewhere between 70, 85, that kind of thing. So you can still see the falling petals through the cards. Okay, we're gonna have to do a little bit of debugging. Why Well, this is what live testing is like, huh? Let's go back home. Install. I'm gonna take a screenshot of this just because I think it's useful for me to do so. Let's go ahead and just take the entire full screen. Click yes, yes, and then I got this message. That's interesting. You get the window here. Okay, let me bring up Claude as well. Claude. Where's Claude? Not Claude, Claude. Do you actually need to completely uninstall Wacom drivers? Can't you just stop the process? I think it is recommended to just uninstall everything because little bits they leave around can interfere with drivers. Now, that being said, that's what I've been told by the OpenTablet driver devs. I haven't drilled into all the little reasons why, so it could be possible that they're just being they're giving the safest advice, and that there is some way of just stopping the process and having it work. That is possible. That is possible. If that is possible, I might investigate doing some UI to stop the other drivers, stop their processes or whatever, or monitor them. Okay. In the app, I tried installing vMulti, but this error came back. So I told Claude, here's the error I saw. We gotta get that fixed, because if I don't get vMulti installed, it's going to be, I can't demonstrate pressure. So it's important we solve this problem. This is why it was called demo and testing, not just demo. So as a reminder for everyone, in case it's not clear, this entire app was vibe coded starting on Sunday. Okay? I have not written one line of code in this app. I have barely looked at any of the code. You know, I've glanced at it. Yes, originally there was some code it started with that's related to something I wrote, but in the time that it's evolving, there's no code left over from where I started. This is all from Claude and Cursor. Both of those have contributed code. Okay, so I'm just waiting for this thing to analyze what's going on. So you'll get to see a little bit of its thinking here. But yeah, I would love that, Nick, if I could just, or at least I would definitely love to explore it. I know some users like Cami Luna, she has, I think it was either her or Hera, but I think it's Cami Luna. I think she told me she stops those processes so she can switch drivers. I hope I'm getting the person right, but I think it is Cami Luna. And that just gave me the idea that, I really don't like it when you're forced to reboot. Okay, so Claude is just inspecting, asking what's going on. It's saying the error code comes back from devcon install, but our script throws away the actual output, so we can't see why. Let's inspect the real vMulti package to compare our script against the stock installer. So yeah, it's doing some investigation. We're just gonna have to let it do its investigation. So I can't remember how we install vMulti. I think there's an install script for vMulti, and the code, when I say we, is Claude. I had it not use that script, but actually write some C# code to do it, just because I didn't want to see the command shell start running, right? So that's why it's saying need to compare ours against the stock installer. And this did work before, so we got to see what's going on. We'll see. Worst case, if it takes a little bit longer, I will just manually install vMulti and we'll see what happens. But this is very useful. This is very useful because this is what a normal person would actually encounter. I've got so much to show you once we get this installed. And again, it won't take too long, I think. It'll either fix the problem quickly or I'll just manually install. Claude is the best $100 a month I spend. The amount of value it's added has been tremendous. I've used it for so many things in my life. Managing my life, my calendar. I use it for dealing with all sorts of little things, editing docs, actually. Here's an example of something that would be painful for me. So I have a doc site, docs.7pens.com. It has like 500 docs, okay? And there are hundreds of pictures. And I copy and paste the pictures with the Windows clipboard, okay? So all these images are named like image.png, image1.png, image2.png. And they're all in one flat list, okay? And some of them have crazy names like image, like 1 space 1 space 1. Like they're just something weird about how Gitbook works. And I was dreading having to look through each image, look at the image, and having to rename it, and making sure no links broke. So I told Grok, here's the GitHub repo of my docs, and there's all these images that have really bad names. I said, can you find all the images that are referred to by exactly one doc and rename them based on the doc, but don't give them the full doc name. Give them like a small version of it so that it's easy to disambiguate, but not too long. It did it. It saved me days of effort, right? Absolutely. Things like that just have always driven me crazy because they're manual, they require work, you have to keep checking, but Claude just handled it. So even though I'm using Claude Code, why does it say classifiers intermittently unavailable? Classifier. I have to ask it. It's saying one of its tools it's using is not staying up, but I'm curious what tool it's referring to. I've actually never heard of this classifier tool. Okay, it's rebuilding the project. So again, which languages could I myself code in? So basically, the languages, well, over 40 years, I've gone through different languages. Right now, the languages I'm very comfortable in are C#, decent with PowerShell. PowerShell is pretty, there's a lot of weirdnesses, so I sort of have to remember some pieces every time I code in it. JavaScript, I can get by. It's more a familiarity thing. Java, yeah, it's basically C#. C, easy. Yeah, I have no problem with C. Let's see. It's asking me if it should do something I should test. I'll test. So now we'll see if this works. So let me go back here. So sorry for the delay, but this is the reality. Hi, Saul. Hey, Saul, no worries. And by the way, everyone ends up doing that, creating one post for every image. It's all good, all good. And we don't do a good job explaining. I think it says it somewhere, but it's hard to see that it says that. So don't worry about it. Don't worry about it at all, okay? And it's more than a bit confusing. It is confusing. It's just there's no way for us to clearly tell people, do this. So everyone ends up doing it, right? You're editing photos as you stream, as I stream. Okay. Let's see. This is up. Let me just confirm. Build again. I had the app up, so it's like having problems. You know, I was talking to someone back in about a month ago, a couple weeks ago maybe, and I said he works at Microsoft, and I said, so people are just using AI for everything, huh? And he said, yeah. And he goes, they're just like doing not everybody, but you know, we're kind of exaggerating here. He said, some people are using it for the most mundane tasks. Like, I'm not making this up. This is what he told me. Oh, like rename this file. Like rename one file. It's like you could have just renamed the file. You didn't have to ask Claude to do it. Okay. It's got to stop the running driver and then restart the driver for this, or stop the driver and just recompile, then start the driver again. But yeah, I don't know how many of you are using AI to do stuff. I definitely recommend you start investigating how it works. I know you're probably sick and tired of me and others talking about this, but it is one of the biggest productivity boosts I think you should learn about. Even if you don't like it, you should learn about it. Okay, I'm just waiting for it to rebuild. We'll try. This should teach us what the problem is. It's crazy to me. I've only had my M3 2 years. We're already hearing about M7. It seems like forced obsolescence. Yeah, same here. I have an M3 MacBook Pro, and I'm like, how are we getting to these numbers here? I'll run. Why is that darn thing? Okay, hang on. Stop doing it. Wait, try build again. I want to make sure Claude is able to build it and tell it. Otherwise, it's going to drive me crazy asking me questions all night about this. Because if it builds, then I have a high confidence that I've got the latest bits. If I have to do it, then it's like we're not sure which thing is running. Such is the life of demos. I once had, this is the worst demo I've ever had. This was, I don't know, 6 years ago, something like that. I was up on stage in front of the VP. Or no, on stage. And there were hundreds of people. I mean, it must have been 500 people. And my demo was coming up and just nothing worked. Like the service was down, right? Okay, I'll just run it. Let's see if this works. vMulti install. Okay, here, so you can see what I'm doing here. Yes. Oops, I clicked no. That wasn't the latest version. What is going on here? Stop daemon. Okay, I know a way to make sure this is actually happening here. Let's just try this. Actually, I'm going to ask Claude one question. What is this darn PID it keeps talking about? What is blocking? What file is locked? Thanks to brainless marketing, that's how. On the other side, if it lets them milk some extra money from customers, maybe it's not so well. Yeah. Okay, what file is locked? There should be no file locking. I don't know why it's acting. I keep closing the app. Oh, wait a second. Let me double check here. I've closed the app. I've closed the app and the daemon. I get the maybe I'm wrong, Nick and Saul, but I get the feeling that these new Apple Silicon chips aren't these big leaps that we've seen in the past. Like they're very, very incremental. Maybe I'm misunderstanding. Okay, let me do this here. I'll run the build from within Claude. Build succeeded. Okay, now I can relaunch the thing. Okay. Install vMulti, and then yes. Yes. What happened there? Oh, there we go. Now the right thing happens. And I'm gonna take a screenshot of this because it is. So it'll actually offer to restart. Okay. So I'm going to do that. Okay. And that's the other thing about vMulti is that it will surprise restart you. So we guide you through this process. Now, I think Cube's suggestion was you can actually detect if the restart is actually needed, or maybe he said something slightly different. In any case, I can make this a little bit more robust. So installing vMulti is something we want to fix, and we've gotten that. You saw that. This machine did not have vMulti on it, but now it will. And the next time the app comes up, it will actually show you vMulti is there. Now, vMulti does not always require a reboot, and that's the thing I want to solve. Sometimes it doesn't, but I want to be able to detect that in either case. Okay, give me a second. I'm going to get some water. I'll be right back, and then we'll start again. Or continue where we left off, rather. Okay, I'm back. Okay, let me log back in. Let's see. Saul says, Nick says Apple is sort of a cult, not for the techie guys. Higher number means it's better and more expensive. Saul, I should be getting my 4 terabyte. If I'd waited, I might have sent close to 1,000 as opposed to 540. Samsung is selling somewhere for 800. Wow. Okay, so let us get back to this demo. And let's see. We installed vMulti, we rebooted. Now look, it says vMulti is in the green, so we're good there, okay? And then it says Cube's Windows Ink plugin is not installed. We need that. So this does not require reboot, you just need to click install. I have an idea of how to just pre-install this, so I might do that. See it just installed, that's it. And then, yeah, you can check for an update, but we don't need to. It's all just there. It all just works. And it says it's not configured. Now that's another thing I should add here that says, oh, the ink, this is the plugin is installed, but it's not configured. Bouncing Cactus has a question. Can I ask about the Cintiq 24 Touch? How is the screen quality? I know it's 2.5K. Is it pretty clear and has good color? I think so. I think it's a totally fine screen. In fact, it's it's right here for me, right? So I can take a look at it in a bit. If you want me to try something out, test something. But yeah, I'm totally happy with it. I'm totally happy with it. It's one of my, I'm totally happy with it. It's one of my recommendations. Easy recommendation. And it's, I know it's not cheap, but it's not that much more expensive than competitors, right? But Nick, I think your advice is right. You should check it with your eyes, right? Now, I've never looked at the old Cintiq Pro 24, so that's fair. And it's not a Pro. It's not advertised as a Pro for display. Okay, so we're good here. Let me do one thing, which is yeah, I'm gonna take Notepad here, okay, and I'm just gonna write down some notes because I'm gonna follow up on these notes after the stream. Number one, vMulti, more progress when UI when installing. I think it's important. Sometimes it takes a second, nothing's happening on the screen, so it can look like things are stalled. Okay. The other thing is Windows Ink. Explore removing the requirement for downloading. Can we embed it? Windows Ink. Remediation means offer to fix, right? Offer remediation in home for configuration, right? We always want the home page to be able to show you something that's orange that it can fix. Right now it's showing you orange, but you can't fix it here, right? Or you're not being led to where to fix it. I think no express keys are a good thing, by the way. Oh, we're going to show express keys in this video. Okay, so things are good. We're actually just set up now to use everything. Let's go to tablets. There's no tablet connected, but I want to get one connected, so give me a second. Let me, I've got a PTH 660 here. Intuos Pro Medium from 2017. Now, this thing has never seen a tablet, so it's like, hey, I don't know why you can't see it. It's still not seeing this tablet for some reason. Hello? Could it be a cable issue? I don't know. Kind of interesting. Let's try it again. Sometimes things are like this. They're just, they don't connect. Let me get another cable and try it. I'll be right back. Okay, I got a new. Sometimes cables that should work just don't, and you can never know why. That one should work because it supports data. Okay, try another one, and let's see. Plug in. Oh, it did show up actually. I just didn't notice it. Okay, I did. That was just me being stupid. I didn't notice that Wacom PTH660 actually appeared right here. I was looking at the tablet's view, didn't see it. So I think it's important that the tablet's view actually show the tablets. So I'm going to add that. Notice when I plug it in, it'll take a second, but it will actually get to green in a few seconds. Or it should. I'll go back home. There you go, it went to green. Okay, so it actually happened. So I'm going to say tablets view should list the tablets. Right? We really should do that. Okay. So now this is where we start seeing where things really started changing. Let me move this tablet out of the way here. So now for the, oops, tablet dropped. So now what you see is my new UI for tablets. And now there's a bunch of tabs here and all sorts of interesting things happen here. Number one, this is just a slight update. It's set to relative mode, which is not correct. It should be set to absolute. And this is where it really should have a green check mark, right? So I'm going to do that. And let me put that down as a note. Windows Inc. Absolute mode. Add green check when absolute mode, right? We always want green to be the indication like, yep, things are good, you don't need to worry about it. So that's good. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna add check marks on the tabs also. That's actually a good idea. Tablet settings. Add check marks on the tabs. I think that would actually be very useful. That way you can see at a glance when everything's set up correctly. Okay, now so let's prove it's working. I'm gonna put the thing here and move them. Look at that, it's actually working, right? The pen actually works. Display mapping, this is new. This was not around last time. It actually shows you so it's monitor number 1. If I plug in another one, it'll actually show you another monitor live. And now we actually show you which monitor this is. It's called HDMI Matrix. I know it's a weird name, but that's what it is. And it shows you the resolution, the refresh rate. It actually shows you how it's connected. It tells you this is connected with HDMI. So this is actually useful debugging information, I thought. So I decided to add it because so many times when people are having problems, I'm like, well, how is it connected? How are you getting a video signal? And people don't know sometimes. So it's better for me to just ask them what's written here. And then it's written the GPU. Here it's Intel Arc 8390 GPU. It's the iGPU in this machine, and it's the primary display, right? So this is good. I will say display mapping, show display info in darker text. It's a little bit hard to read, I would say. So I'm not going to plug in another display, but you can actually change the displays, right? Next new feature I added, active area. So by default in Wacom, you have to say use actually something's not quite right here, but we'll get to it in a second. Oh, I had to click apply mapping. There we go. Oh, that's it. That's another thing. Display mapping was not clear. I had to pick apply mapping. So I was not getting proportions. That's interesting. Okay, so the mapping should be done for me. Let's go to active area, and you can see the tablet is a little bit bigger than it is wide. It's 16 by 9 the monitor, but the active area of the tablet is not. So it automatically does force proportions. It even tells you how much of the tablet the active area is using, 85%. And even shows you the diagonal lengths, right? Oh, I should add imperial units. Active area, add imperial units. Imperial units. Not everyone understands millimeters, right? Calibration. So this is not a screen display, but I'm going to go ahead and pretend that it is. So normally when you calibrate, there's a 4-point calibration. You've all seen it. I'm going to click it, see what happens, right? And you move the pen. Now look, first of all, my calibration has a little bit of an animation. And I think it's much more clear what you have to calibrate, okay? And notice, by the way, you can switch light mode, dark mode, because some people don't like whichever mode, okay? And by the way, notice the calibration. Like the screen is dark, but it lights up a little bit toward this area, right? It's a little, you can see through it a little bit. So let me go ahead and just click it. It's 1, 2. You want to hit the crosshairs pretty good. Okay, so it's done. Now you can apply it right now. I'll go ahead and click apply. So it is applied. So now there's an accuracy that it is applied. You can't see it because you're not seeing a pen display. But sometimes these calibrations just aren't good enough. So one of the suggestions a couple of days ago was, well, add the calibration found in Better Calibrator. And that's what I did. So there's actually a 9-point calibration if you want. And if you really have a tough case, there is a 25-point calibration. This should handle every weird issue, right? So we'll see. And it's not calibrated right, so I don't need to calibrate right now, but there we go. Next is pen switches. So this is the tip, the eraser, the buttons. So you can just set them to auto or legacy. I know it's a little bit confusing right now, but auto just basically means things are good. Okay, and what the change I'm going to do here is I'm going to have it draw the pen with an eraser, and so it's going to be a generic looking pen, but you'll be able to see, like, it'll look more like a normal driver UI. So I'll say pen switches, use a diagram of the pen, right? That'll be easier to understand. Now save settings, you can save snapshots of settings here, so I'm going to save, right? And you can recall these snapshots. And then of course there's test drawing, right? And you can test if things going. And we're going to get to dynamics in a second. You can turn on pressure curves if you want. So this is something OpenTabletDriver never had, right? And pressure smoothing. I'll just leave on a little bit of pressure curve and close it. And the pressure curve is actually, you can't feel it, but I can. It's actually active now. Okay? And then we have About, which links you to other things. But I'll go back to the specific tablet, because there are a couple of things I didn't show you, like express keys. Let's see. Oh, Bouncing Cactus says 7 pence. Would you recommend overall quality? Which would you recommend for overall quality out of these 3? Cintiq 24 Touch. Cintiq 24 Touch. Wacom still leads the quality game. I mean, I don't think there's a doubt in my mind about that. Between the other two, I wouldn't be able to pick. I would not be able to pick, because I think XP Pen has gotten a lot better, and I think SenseLab's really in the same place. But Wacom, in terms of overall quality, I think still the top. Yeah. So I'm going to hit the buttons on the tablet, and you can notice the buttons actually light up. In fact, they can chord, right? You actually know that. So I'm not going to set the buttons quite yet, but what this means is it's much easier to figure out which button is which. Okay? It's much easier now. And here we get to see something exciting. I know, very exciting. We're going to assign a button to do something. Let me click Edit. And look at this. We actually, if you want to assign a shortcut, Bouncing Cactus, even if it's 2.5 compared to 4K, I think 2.5 is a decent place to be. If you need 4K, you need 4K. So I'm not going to say don't get it, but like 2.5K is enough for a lot of people. It's enough for a lot of people. Some people, yes, they need 4K. I'm not going to lie. Their eyes need it and their work needs it, but I don't need that. Okay? So let's try to set a shortcut of, I don't know, I'm making up the shortcut, Control E. So I'll click on Control and E, and you can actually see the Control E down here, right? So I'll save it. And then you see Control E is assigned right there. I'll click Edit again so I can change it to mouse, like the mouse left click if I want. Save. In fact, let's go. I'm going to hit the button. To hit the Edit button, and actually, it'll work. It did something, didn't it? Interesting. It moved the mouse, it moved the pointer. So I gotta see why it did that. Why did it do that? And now my mouse, oh sorry, mouse is not there. Let me try that again. Interesting, so there's a little bit of a bug there. Assigning buttons. Assigning tab button to mouse left click when pressing button, move the mouse. But I hope you like at least this this keyboard look, right? Because it's now much more obvious which key to press. At least I hope it is. Very clearly. You don't have to, search for it or type it in. You can just pick from this virtual keyboard. Of course, I had to settle. Yes, we're going to show you the sensor wheel. Yes, yes, yes. So let me clear this one, and let's go to the wheel. So this is really weird to do Open Tablet Driver, right? It's just not clear at all how this is supposed to work. But I'm just going to spin the wheel. The wheels are not assigned anything. Watch this. Okay, you get it? So this just helps you understand that, hey, the UI understands what your finger is doing with the wheel. Right? Is it necessary? No. Is it super cool? Yeah. And I think it is really helpful. It tells you if you're going clockwise or counterclockwise and, your approximate position on the wheel, right? And you can do things like, I'm going to go clockwise is the left bracket, save. And or the other way around, the other direction is right bracket. Let's test this out. Let's open up Notepad, which is right here, and I'm going to spin to the right. Look at that. And spin to the left. It actually does the thing it's supposed to. I added the UI. Open Tablet Driver in 6.7, 0.6.7 added support for wheels. Right? So I hope you like that. That's a really nice little feature, I think. And you can assign the wheel button, which I didn't do here. How good is it? Can you use undo, redo on the wheel to control with precision every step? Sorry, let me see if I understand your question, Nick. Can you use undo, redo on the wheel on control with precision every step? Can you phrase that a different way? I'm not sure what you mean. I think you're saying you want to do undo by going like clockwise, undo by going backwards, redo by going forwards clockwise, but you want to be able to have very small increments maybe. Let's try it out. Okay, let's try it out. I'll set this left bracket to be what? Control Z. What is control undo? Sorry, control redo. Control Y, right? Usually in an app. Control Y. Save. Okay, let's see what happened. So I'm going to spin backwards here. Whoa! It undid. I didn't mean to do that. Oh shit! It erased way more than I wanted it to erase. Okay, that was not smart of me. So it will undo the heck out of things. Let me save the document before I get in more trouble. Okay, I'll have to remember what I typed in. At least it's in the video, right? Let me open up Notepad or some other app. And I'll just type in a bunch of garbage, okay? So, I think you don't want to be as sensitive. Yeah, you don't want to be, I think it also depends on the app. I'm going backwards, forwards, backwards. Okay, it's a little confusing. Using wheels undo like Krita, I have it that way and it works fine. Question, please be able to control precisely. I think there is a way to do it. Let's actually, you know what? Let's install Krita. Let's test it out. This is a really good test case. Krita.org. Krita.org. Download. Windows installer. Let's install this thing. And let's set it up and try it. Have fun painting. And I'll draw some strokes and let's see if it's doing, if we can do exactly what Nick is asking. I'll draw like 50 quick strokes and then we'll see. This is also verify pressure is working correctly, which I think it is. I think the wheel is producing too many undos. Like every small movement is producing a lot of undos and redos. So I think I need to make it less sensitive. I think less sensitive is moving it like here. Let's do this. Let's go to Krita here. And let's try it out. Krita has very cool shift. Oh, that's right. You're always the one that reminds me because I forget that Krita can do a shift drag. Every time I forget. Will Krita ever be made for the iPad? Did they try one time or not? I could have sworn, maybe I'm confusing with Android. There was some reason about them either doing it or not doing it or abandoning it, I thought. God, I hate this overlay. Okay. Let's create a new picture. Let me zoom in a little bit so it doesn't look so crazy. Okay, let me just draw some strokes here. Just to simulate like I've been doing a lot of drawing. And I need to absorb a lot of undos and redos. That's why I'm creating a lot of stuff here. It isn't just because I want to draw a bunch of dots. Okay, now let's see. I'm going to rotate right. Yeah, I can. Yeah, there we go. I'm rotating right. And now I'm doing left. What is redo on Krita? Maybe I'm not set it correctly. Is it Control Shift Y maybe? Or Control Shift Z maybe? That's what it is. Let's try this. Yeah, what Nick, can you tell me what it is, please? Let's see, or maybe I can figure it out. Redo is Control Shift Z. I thought I set that. Control Shift Z, yeah, counterclockwise. Why am I not getting it? Okay, let's draw up some strokes here. Control Shift Z, okay. It may be some bug that I'm just not aware of in how I'm doing things. Let's verify it does what Nick says. Control Z does this. Control Shift Z does this. Okay, great. I didn't quite get all the way back there, but whatever. So, undo is doing that, correct? And Control Shift Z, okay. It is working. There we go. Yeah. So now you can do it on Krita. Great, that was perfect, Nick. Thanks for the suggestion to try it, because then we actually were able to confirm that it is possible, like everything works as expected. Dynamics, this is actually just the pressure curve stuff, right? Turn it on and off. Hover, someone suggested in the previous stream to add hover distance limiter. Some people don't like high hover. I've discovered I'm starting to become one of those people. So I'm going to turn this on. And I'll just tell you, right now, I feel like I have to really lift the pen away from the tablet quite a distance. Now, so there's like basically no limit to the hover at this point. And you see why it jitters? I'm just at I must be 20 millimeters away. Right? You can't control quite that way, Nick. You can basically say how many degrees count as a step, as I believe the thing. Let me change the max hover to like half of that. Half of that's still pretty high. How about this? Okay, let me set it really low. I'm gonna set it all the way down here. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy here, but I'm not just feeling like this is limiting. I'd have to play around with this. I don't feel like it's actually doing anything. Maybe I'm not, yeah, it doesn't seem to be actually limiting, so I'll have to debug this. But it's supposed to work, of course. Hover distance. Limiter. Check why it seems to have no effect. So I will double check that. I'll turn it off for right now. I don't want it to do anything weird. Let's see. Cube says you might want to expose the near proximity option for hover distance limiter. That way it will match Wacom's. Okay, okay. Let's see. Hover. I think I saw that option. I just didn't realize how important it was. Near proximity. Cube, did you see the wheel thing? That I added, the UI. I'll show it just in case you didn't see it. Proximity will match Wacom's default. Also, some tablets have high hover distance reported when they're closer to the tablet and low when they're further up, so it's inverted. Okay, I'll play around with that. Also check hover distance. Check if it is inverted. Okay, and just for Cube, I'll show two things because he might not have seen this. Cube, since you told me OpenTabletDriver has the wheel support, I actually added Let me clear the wheel assignments for a second. I actually added this visualization so you can see quite clearly what the wheel is doing, right? And I'm probably actually gonna sort of merge the UI here so that they're really separate cards. I think I'm going to sort of unify this into one big visualization here, as opposed to using this card model, because it, well, first, it just makes it more cohesive, I think. But yeah, I thought this was a nice little effect. Makes it much more clear which rotation you're at, right? Does that work for relative wheels or only absolute? You gotta tell me what that means. I've never heard relative or absolute wheels. So is the Wacom thing a absolute? I've never thought about it, to be more accurate. I'm guessing the Wacom PTH660 has an absolute wheel. I can go get another one with I think a relative wheel, and we'll try it out. I've got one nearby. I'll get it I'll go get it a second. So there's this UI, right? And I'm gonna make it do like instead of being a progress bar, make it more of a trail that sort of it follows and sort of, it disappears, right? Test on 2OS Pro 20. Oh yeah, that's right over here. I'll get that. Okay. One more thing I want to show you is the express keys. So binding to keyboard. I actually have like a little virtual keyboard thing here. So it does work. We just showed it on stream. So I just wanted to show, again, the point of all this was to show like, hey, how much simpler can we make the experience if we dedicate some time to the UI? Now, obviously I had to pick a specific keyboard layout. It's not going to detect which keyboard is working. Okay, give me a second. Like 3 seconds, I just got to go over there and pick up the Intuos Pro 25, and we'll test the other part of this thing. Okay, give me 1 second. Absolute wheel means that it reports the exact position. Okay, so definitely this is an absolute wheel. I just didn't even think about relative wheels. Okay, we'll try it. We'll try it right now. Okay, so let's go to the wheel here. I'm going to, because this is another test at the same time, I'm going to plug in another cable. So I'll have two tablets to connect at the same time, because maybe it's a good time to ask you a question about tablets. Okay, there we go. Here we go. Now I have the Intuos. I'm going to move this out of the way. Now I'm going to plug in the PTK 670. Let's see, where's one? Okay, got picked up immediately. There it is. And this is interesting. This further confirms I need to merge the UI, because I didn't quite imagine this. I didn't think this through. I'm going to spin one of the wheels. I'm not getting anything on the first wheel or on the second. Nothing is happening. Whoops. No, I don't want that to happen for sure. Yeah, I'm spinning the wheel. I'm not getting anything. Let me get another tablet and I'll try it out. And maybe by then you'll be able to tell me what you think might be happening here. 1 second. Okay, I'm back, and again, yeah, for some reason, the wheels on the PTK 670 don't seem to do anything. So maybe one of the questions I also have for you, Cube, is how would I debug this? How would I debug this? By the way, the OTD WPF app is on the machine, so I can open that obviously and take a look at that. But in the meanwhile, I'm going to try one more thing. So Bouncing Cactus is asking, I'm looking at your 2025 pen display ranking. I noticed you had Canvas Pro 27 as S tier along with Wacom. What is good about the Canvas compared to other Wacom alternatives? The key thing that happened with that generation of Huion tablets is they have a really good pen. The PW600 pens, right? Actually, pen's pretty good, but not quite as good as that. And the PW600 pen is really, I would say it's just a hair under the Pro Pen 2, Pro Pen 3. I think Pro Pen 2 is still a little bit better, but the PW600 series of pens are the best non-Wacom pens on the market, in my opinion, at least in terms of pressure. You can look at the OTD debugger to see how each of the wheels report. Relative wheels send in different, okay. Let's just do that real quick here. Let's just do that. Conveniently, if I go to Advanced, and I go to somewhere here, I'll go to Daemon actually. I'm clicking on OTD. It takes a few seconds for some unknown reason, but the UI will come up. If you know why it takes a few seconds, I'd love to know. Why is this darn thing stuck in there? Okay, let me leave this because actually we want to do a little bit of debugging here. Okay, open the OTD debugger. Where's the debugger? Tablet debugger. This thing. Okay. And then PTK 670. Okay, let's just do this. I see the wheel data as delta. Yeah, I mean, delta 1. So, sorry, if I don't move, nothing's there. No tablet reports. I spin to the left, it's delta -1. I spin to the right, it's 1. And the second wheel wheel number 2 behaves. Okay. So, I guess in my head, I thought this would sort of be automatically handled for me. I see it does not. Okay, let me write this down. Handle relative wheels. PTK 870. That's a really, or 670, right? That's what I got here. So that was good. Okay, I'm gonna try something because of the latency of the stream. I'm gonna ask you as I try it. Do any other tablets have wheel support in OTD? Why is this thing won't come out? Okay, this is a Huion Inspiroid Dial 2, and I'm really curious what happens here. Very curious. I'm going to unplug this, put it back in. Let's see if it picks it. It picks it up. Let me go to the tablet debugger again. Okay, it's a relative wheel, just the same way as the Wacom one. Okay, so there's a bunch of wheel support, but hard to say exactly which do or don't have support without checking. It's all over the place since we rely on users asking for support and testing. Okay, well, I do have lots of tablets with wheels, so I'll try things out. How's that? I'll try things out. Or at least I have quite a few with wheels, so I can definitely test. But yeah, I'm glad you brought this up. It didn't even occur to me that some wheels were relative and some were absolute. So that's good to know. Okay, so I'll unplug this. So it is supported. But I've got to figure out why. Let's go back to the 670. Let me plug it back in. Actually, before I do that, let me take a look at what it says about the 670. Oh, yeah. So let me just add a little to-do for myself. For unplugged tablets, show the time date they were last seen. I think it's nice to show that because like the UI doesn't forget they ever existed. Okay, let me try this one more time just to see if I can pick up any more details here. It's interesting that plug it back in, go to wheel, and then spin it. Yeah, there's just no reaction. But now that I have a repro case, I can work with Claude to help me. Oh, another feature. I don't know if you saw this cube. It's just a minor feature. If you click on the, that's interesting. It doesn't work here. Let me go to the 660. If I click on the express keys, well, it's supposed to do this, but it's not doing it. Actually, you know what? Let me unplug things. I'll just leave one thing connected. Well, the buttons are supposed to light up when I press the keys, but for some reason right now it's not doing it. So I'll have to figure that out. But yeah, they actually, originally when I was doing this, they lit up. Hover, filters. For me, this is supposed to be a read-only view. It's not supposed... I kind of go through both ways on this. Like I only have... for artists, do I want to reveal that filters exist? That's the first question. Number two, if I reveal they exist, what do I do if there are other filters? And I have two choices. I can actually just like admit that they exist and not do anything to them, or I can disable them and only enable, you know, the filters that I think are important. Because I think maybe I'll do that because I can guarantee the experience more that way. Let's see, did I add anything else? Diagnostic, I didn't do that. Log has the search now. I did discover an interesting, I guess, bug or something. So it warns, this is kind of a funny one. I was looking through the log here, what you call console in the OpenTablet driver UI. And it says, warning, detect XP Pen driver is detected. And Claude and I did some debugging. Technically, you can detect when the user has their finger over the keys without them actually being pressed. Oh, wow. That is interesting. That is interesting. So I was asking Claude, why is it saying XP Pen is installed? And by the way, look at the binary. It's saying process found is OpenTabletArtist.exe. I go, why is it reporting this binary, the one we're building, as XP Pen? He goes, oh, the search is looking for the string pen tablet. And OpenTabletArtist has the string pen tablet in it. So that's kind of a funny little thing. Driver cleanup. Yeah. So we did some testing. We got vMulti installed with this app. We got your Windows Ink plugged in this way. But yeah, the major settings were basically let me just show it to you just in case you missed it. We've got the display mapping. It does work with multiple displays. We have active area shown here. So you can see exactly how much active area there is. The next thing I'm going to add is shrinking the active area and either aligning it to an edge or just dragging it. But I'm not going to allow random aspect ratios that will always be mapped to the display. For calibration, I think you saw I added 4 925 point. And then for display mapping, I actually show how the display is connected, like resolution, refresh rate, which cable, HDMI in this case. and then which GPU is being used. And I was surprised. I did not expect Windows to be able to answer this question of which cable is being used. But apparently, and I've tested this, it'll tell you, oh, this is connected with DisplayPort, and this is with HDMI. And the reason I added that is when I'm helping people with pen displays, I'm always asking, how are you getting a video signal? And they don't know. Which port's it connected to? They don't know. This actually helps me out a little bit for debugging. I think the toughest thing I have to deal with probably as a feature is the following, which I haven't done yet. Is the, let me find it. Doing the express keys for an app. I believe the suggestion was switch profiles. What I call saved settings, I guess. But I just wish there was a better way of doing it, honestly. I mean, at the end of the day, I just want to do it like the way the drivers normally do, right? So yeah, this is a lot of improvements to the experience. We found out a lot of issues in this stream, actually, that I need to investigate. So this was actually pretty useful. But yeah, if you could think of any more things to add. And again, you know, for those of you like Hubert or an Open Tablet driver in the dev team, if there's something you'd like to see done, even as an experiment, like, you know, code with AI is cheap, so I can have it build anything and just see what it's like. You know, if you wanted to see what this would be like. I guess if you, yeah, whatever. Whatever you imagine, we can try it out. Even if it's just a prototype to play with, so people get a feel for what it could be. Of course, my setup means like I'm on Windows primarily, so I'm gonna have to see what this is gonna do if I'm on Mac OS, and what's gonna happen on Linux. Which I think you told me in the last stream, Linux things do work differently, and that's kind of scary for me. That's kind of very scary for me. But yeah, this is actually working out very well. I'm pretty happy with this. And I'm going to start using it for my own art. That's the first thing. If I can be satisfied it's working, then I think I'll have more confidence telling people, hey, try it out. Okay, so I think that's my demo. That's my demo. Again, the big features were this restructuring of the UI, the display mapping, the active area, which I'm going to add the sizing, the calibration. I got to clean the pen switches up. I'm actually going to have a picture of a pen, a diagram of a generic pen. So this will be more like a picture here instead of what we have today, which is just this flat card list. The wheel, I'll merge each wheel into one sort of visual setting instead of having these cards. It'll just make more sense, especially with multiple wheels. And then yeah, everything else is working pretty good. I think dynamics, I'm going to do a limit on how much smoothing and you can apply, because I think I've come to the realization smoothing you should fix smoothing a little bit in the driver, but really you should just leave it up to the app if you want heavy smoothing. That's at least what I'm thinking here. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So if anyone wants to see something else with the tool, happy to do it. But now I'm going to switch to part 2, or the next part of the stream, where we'll just do some news and updates. I think someone wanted me to watch a video or talk about something. And there are a bunch of little things I wanted to respond to. Okay, so give me a second. I'll be back in just a minute as I get a drink of water and get my iPad. It'll make it easier for me to take notes. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. Hi, Cello Paint. Good to see you. And thanks for sharing your art in the stream we had a week or so ago. As Bender would say, this is Nick. Of course it's a Nick comment. As Bender would say, let's make our own tablet driver with blackjack and hookers. And so we have. And so we have. Look, I'm just happy I got the, here, let me just go to the home view. I'm just happy I actually got the, this is the Sakura theme, of course. I'm just happy this worked. I didn't expect this to work. Yes, is it excessive? Is it extra? Yes. But it distinguishes this driver from every other driver UI you've seen, right? And I want to go harder on this. I do want to add a low poly 3D animated background in maybe as a splash screen, but I do want to go a little harder on this. Can it recognize app profiles like Wacom? So shortcuts are individual per app and not global. Okay, so let's talk about this. I think here's my understanding. There is no facility in OpenTabletDriver to do that switching by app. It does not know about apps. Okay, that's just the truth. The model for OpenTabletDriver to allow you to have the driver behave differently based on the app is you go and you do whatever you want, and I'm doing it this UI here just to make it more clear, and you save what they would call a profile, I guess, but you snapshot the settings, okay? And this can seem a bit convoluted to those of us who expect what you expect, Nick. And then you can assign a shortcut, a key on the pen, a button on the pen or the tablet, to switch between snapshots, right? Now, that's not ideal for those of us who are used to, oh, I'm switching between Krita and Photoshop and Slipstream Paint. Why would I, use a button to make the switch for settings? That's unusual. That is unusual. I've been looking through it. I will, at the very least, add that ability in OpenTablet OTA. However, I'm going to continue. I'm trying with Claude to more accurately write down what the design would look if we were to enable that feature. So it's not something I can create. I think I can fake it. Actually, let me say it like this. It would require upstream changes in OpenTabletDriver, right? Like something has to happen inside OpenTabletDriver for this to work. The OTA, this application, can fake it. We can fake it here. Because in essence, if I'm able to assign a shortcut to switch between profiles, then I can assign some other thing, some other criteria to switch profiles. And that could be anything from, if the pen is on a different screen, on this screen, use this profile, and on this screen, use this profile. That's just something maybe I could do. It could be also which app is active, right? Dynamically, keep monitoring the active app somehow. And then if you see Photoshop is there, switch to the Photoshop profile. I bet you could make an OTD tool plugin that automatically switch presets. Really? You think that's actually within the realm of possibility? Interesting. Because if you're saying that, that gives me some confidence, right? So let me show you how I think this would work, Nick and Cube. At least in the way I'm seeing it here. I think in the UI, let's just take this snapshot, okay? Let me just take two snapshots here. I'll rename this one to be Photoshop, okay? Or Photo Hop. Now it's just a name, okay? Photoshop profile. And I'll change this one to be Clip Studio Paint profile, okay? These are just names. They don't change anything, okay? And then what I would do is I would say like, there'd be a little extra thing to the card there that says apply to, and by default it would say all apps. That's what it would really say here. It applies to all apps. And there'd be a little app picker that lets you pick a running process or a binary. And at the end of the day, we need a binary file name. And then once it's got that file name, and you could have multiple. I could have, but you could only pick, well, I'm not sure. Let's just pretend each profile is mapped to one binary. For just a moment, anyway, okay? Like, you can map it to all, or you can map it to one. Then I can, if I detect the switch, I can switch profiles. Now, this is a little weird. I mean, I don't want to, it's weird because it's not the way we normally think about it in Wacom UI. I don't know if it's fundamentally weird, right? And I don't know if there couldn't be something else that could be done which would make it less weird, right? So let me give you an example of one of the slightly weird things here, depending on your perspective. This setting, Photoshop profile, so you see I have 3 tablets here, right? And I click Save Snapshot to create both these. It would have settings for all 3 tablets, right? Maybe you don't want that. But it's, at the very least, it's not obvious that Photoshop profile contains settings for all 3, okay? So it's I don't know how to think about it. I'll have to work this through. It's kind of a UI design problem here. But yeah, that's I think thinking through this, I think it's possible. You know what? I'm gonna write it in my, I think I got it. I think I know what to do here, okay? Which is, what is this called? Profiles. Allow profile to be associated with an app binary or all apps. And then dynamically switch, detect, and switch. I think this is possible. And so you don't need to deal with the switch, right? It can just happen kind of the way you and I would expect. I think this is possible. If that's possible, that would be great, because there's no way the shortcut keys for the buttons, there's no way they're going to be the same between Krita and Clip Studio Paint. They just work that differently, or Photoshop, right? It's just not going to be the case. Maybe a couple of them, like Control Z, Control whatever, right? But a lot of them are going to be completely different. So yeah, I think this is, actually the more I think about it, the more I think it's possible. I'm not even sure it would be that hard. In any case, I'm not writing the code. It's just, I'm just going to ask Claude to think about it. The other thing I'm doing is we, meaning Claude and I, as we're doing this, I'm asking it to keep track of difficult things, or things where, if OpenTabletDriver did this, it'd be easier for us being the generic term for anybody writing another UI, right? Meaning a parallel UI, which is what this thing is. So I've started writing that doc. I haven't really reviewed it. It's in the repo though. It's called OTD Suggestions. I didn't want to file issues because I don't think we're ready to file issues like that. Because it's not thoroughly investigated. I wouldn't want to file it without talking to someone like Cube anyway. But it would be a series of like, okay, if you did this, it'd be easier for an app like this, right? Maybe even those suggestions would be useful as the dev team migrates the OpenTabletDriver UI to Avalonia. Maybe, right? Which reminds me, I need to go build the Avalonia build just to see what's in there, right? The branch. But yeah, I think this is possible. The more I think about the easy, I think this is actually very easy. Not trivial. It's not. I don't think it's hard at all. It might do something a little weird, but I don't think it's going to be crazy. Yeah, it's good. If you can see any weird consequences of it, let me know. I think the biggest thing that confuses me when this proposal is, I guess in my head, it's hard for me to imagine if I want to go see what's the settings for this. Sorry, okay, let me just back it up. If I want to go see for this tablet, what's the settings for everything, it's a little weird because I'd have to go to the tablet, but I won't see any indication here that there are settings for Clipsio Paint, right? And Photoshop. It's like nothing here would reveal that fact to me. I think then, sorry, I'm just brainstorming UI. Let me try this on. Let me just try this as a proposal. Clearly, I have 2 snapshots here. I could say, right up here, that this tablet appears in several setting snapshots. Okay? Like, there are settings in these 2 different places. And once I've said that, and the settings have names, like Photoshop profile and CSP profile, it is much more obvious that how this tablet is set for those apps. Okay, I think maybe I've convinced myself this is much more possible. And showing it up here would be very similar to how an app driver like Wacom does it today. They show little, all apps or something. I think it'll work. Yeah, okay, I'll try it. Okay, enough with the discussion on this tool. I'm going to switch over to, we can go back to it if we need to, but I'm going to go over to just random other things that I think people wanted to talk about. Let me see if there's anything previously in the chat. Sack did ask a question. Did they fix the latency issue of the XP Pen Pro Artist Pro 27? I only vaguely remember the latency issue, Sack, so I'd have to double check on that. I'll have to double check. Okay, let me bring up my iPad because it actually will help me do some of what we're going to do here, which is I want to respond to common questions in the subreddits actually. But let me just make sure this thing works the way I expect it to. Give me a second. What am I trying to do here? I need to get to because I want to show you the text as well. OneNote, and I think I can close this. Oh yeah, Bouncing Cactus. Yes. Let's okay. Ask your questions, Bouncing Cactus. Absolutely. While I'm setting this up, let's ask your questions. That's why we're here, after all. Okay. Let me. Okay, sorry, I'm just setting something up here that you can't see. Okay, and then let's see if I can move this. How do I do this? Okay, it's not as easy as I thought. Okay. Yeah, Bouncing Cactus, just let me know what you want to see here. Okay, and while we're doing that, I'm gonna see if I can get the. Okay, first question is, can that Huion pen tilt as far as the Pro Pen 3 on this antique? Yes, it can. Um, More broadly, essentially, I don't know, for the last 20 years, all drawing tablet pens, EMR drawing tablet pens, tilt up to 60 degrees. And no drawing tablet, as far as I know, has ever gone past 60 degrees. And both the Huion, all the Huion pens and the Wacom pens and the XP pens, they all tilt the same way, to the same degree. So yeah, absolutely, it tilts as far. Absolutely. Now, whether you need that much tilt is another question, but yeah, they tilt. Okay, got that. And what do I need here? Okay. I'm trying something. Don't want that. I want... my HDMI capture to be my middle monitor. There we go. Okay, it's in the right place. Maybe this will work. So I'm trying something out, which may sound odd. I'm going to say something to make sure that it gets captured on the iPad, and I'm going to paste it in. So I'll just go ahead and reply to Bouncing Cactus, and let's see if this works. Yes, the Huion tablet has a pen that supports just as much tilt as the Wacom. Okay, let's see if this actually worked. Paste. That didn't work at all. Let's try. Command V. Yes, it worked. Okay. Woohoo! This is going to make it easier for me to reply because actually you can actually get my text. My speech is text. Let's see. Copy text. Oh, this is going to be fun. This is going to be fun. I have a small Sense Labs tablet. It has 60 degrees, but I noticed the length of the nib in the Pro Pen is longer. Okay. So yes, that is a physical difference between the Pro Pen 3 and every other drawing tablet pen. The Pro Pen 3 has two changes. The nib does stick out a little bit more than other pens. And also the Pro Pen 3, the cone here is the Pro Pen 2, is not as thick. It's thinner, it's sharper, and that allows the pen to physically get closer to the tablet. So in that sense, a Pro Pen 3 it stops you, sorry, it lets you get further. It's not that the electronics have changed. It's just that the pen lets you get a little further physically without the pen hitting the glass. That's all. So let's see if this works. Yep, there we go. See, we actually got my full text in my show notes. Bouncing Cactus says, this is one of the reasons I'm on the fence between replacing with a non-Wacom. Now, that makes sense. Look, the other thing, which I'm glad you brought up, honestly, sometimes people want to change tablet brands or upgrade tablet brands. Like they want to switch from Wacom to Huion or whoever. Wacom's pens still are the best pens out there. Okay? Absolutely, they are the best pens out there. And I don't want to pretend otherwise. Now, has the distance between those pens gotten better? Yeah, absolutely, they have. However, I don't want to pretend that there's no difference. And if you have especially become accustomed to a Wacom professional pen, switching to another pen is a risk. Let's admit that's true. Okay. So I can understand why you might be on the fence about it. That does make sense to me. Let's see. Bouncing Cactus says, I'm just going to paste it here since it's easier. Oops, didn't fully paste it. Copy text, paste it in here. I'm concerned about screen quality. Oops, I opened up Google somehow. About on the Cintiq 24 Touch compared to the alternatives, but I really love Pro Pen 3 drawing twins. I think the Cintiq 24 Touch has a good screen. Now, I'm not a color expert, but it feels nice. Doesn't feel quite as good as the Cintiq Pro 22 or 27, but it feels good. There's nothing... I mean, the only way for you to satisfy yourself, honestly, is to look at one and compare it and to draw on it. But I have no hesitation saying it's a good screen. Right? Nick being Nick in chat. Nick being Nick in chat. Let's see. I tend to draw or sculpt entirely tilted on my side, like using charcoal on its side. Oh, okay. So for you, tilt is a big deal. And if I understand correctly, people like you who tilt on the side, you will need that extreme amount of tilt, right? Now, I will say also that 60 degrees is not as much tilt as you might be used to. But I can see why the Pro Pen 3 might be helpful for you, right? Because it doesn't prevent. Basically, I think the other pens prevent you from getting all the way over, but the Pro Pen 3 gets you all the way over, or to the 60%. Sorry, I said 60%. I meant 60 degrees. Okay, while you're doing that, I'm going to go to Reddit, and we'll talk about the issues I see come up here. We'll do the easy issues that I can reply to. We'll start with our favorite Wacoms. Again, things that are kind of relatively easy to answer. Is it possible to map media keys on the Wacom Center? Well, with OpenTabletDriver you can. I don't think it is though on Wacom Center. I'll double check here. Oh, I don't have that thing connected. Actually, I can though. I definitely can do it. That way, Wacom Center will not freak out. Nick, you know what? I have never adjusted the tilt curve. What is it you do in your tilt curves, Nick? In fact, you're the first person that's implicitly told me they changed the tilt curve. So I'm curious what it is you have done. Okay, why is this tablet not connecting? Oh, tablet's not. Let's see. Bouncing Cactus says the Pro Pen 3 on my Intuos is the only digital pen that gives me freedom, similar to my Absolute Pencil, to have the. Yeah. Okay. Then, if that's the case, you gotta get You can't get the Sense Labs or Huion. I mean, if that's important to you, that's important to you. Are the pixels noticeable? It depends on your perspective. Yes. The answer is yes. But they're not super chunky. Do you notice them? Yeah, absolutely. But they're not, they're like tolerable. Sorry, tolerable sounds so awful. It's more like I don't have a problem with it. I think lots of people don't have a problem with it. But you do notice them, yes. If you're used to a 4K display, you would definitely notice. But I wouldn't call it a highly pixelated screen. Trust me, looking at a 22-inch screen that's HD, so 1920 by 1080, you'll notice how chunky it is. 2.5K, not that much, right? In fact, I think 2.5K comes off more like a slightly blurrier 4K than heavily pixelated. That's the way I think about it. I'm not super sensitive to resolution, but I notice a little bit. Okay, let's try to get this question about media keys. I'm trying to answer this. Are there media key support? I don't think so. Pan, scroll, undo, keyboard modifier, dial toggle, other, Change settings, default. Navigation. I don't think they can support media keys. I've never seen it. I could be wrong. Pen display. Yeah, I don't think they do. Nick says, if you use special tilt brushes, there are many details. Problem is, in Photoshop, you don't have curves per brush. Oh, it doesn't? You need to make a global profile and try to configure brush. So interesting. I didn't know that. I don't use Photoshop very often. And when I do, it's definitely not for that reason. I just checked on the Wacom Center for the Intuos Pro Medium 2025, and I didn't see any options for media controls or the ability to target shortcut keys to a specific application that involve pausing or skipping songs. Without the app having focus. Okay, let's see if this actually worked. I was talking to this Reddit thing. It didn't quite, it made a bullet point, so I didn't mean it to do that. So let's just edit this answer here. To target, without an application being in the foreground. Foreground. Yeah, I don't see it. I'd love to see if someone knows a way to do it though. Let's see. Nick says you need at least 24 inches to make 4K normally visible. Yeah, 4K, I think people underestimate how tiny 4K can make things, even on a large display. I have two 4K 32-inch displays over there on another desk, and I never use it 100% scaling on Windows. It's always scaled to like 200 or something. It looks good that way, but like even on those are large displays. It just doesn't. Things are too tiny at 100% scaling. I think I even have a 43-inch display, and I leave it at like at least, I think 150 or 200 scaling. And that is a 43-inch display, 4K. Some apps like ZBrush have a million tiny, whiny buttons and sliders. If you use 16 and 4K res, it will require a microscope to hit. Yeah, absolutely. Some apps really seem like that's just the way they work. They have lots of little controls they need to see all the time. Okay, let's see. Using monitor and display tablet. Okay, this person has an answer, so I'm just gonna check the answers. See. This person wants to essentially have two displays connected to their MacBook Air. MacBook Air is not the Neo, right? That's, different. How many simultaneous Simultaneous external. Fuck, I can't type anything these days. External display. Displays. Can it support? Is it spect? Spect. I cannot type. Support. In your case, it would have to support at least 2. You do the same thing, bouncing cactus? Yeah. So it sounds like you and I had very similar uses for like resolution and size. I keep my monitors also far away. Like, I'm going to reach my hand out. I think it'll be like 4 feet away from me is my 32-inch monitors. I don't like to have things super close up. Nick says, what about switching active monitors with an express key button in the OTD ring? Oh, yeah, that's planned. Sorry, Nick, I should have mentioned that. That is planned. Yes, yes. And I think someone even, maybe Cube, mentioned there is something I should look at to make that they've done something, or there is a plugin for that. But yeah, that is absolutely planned, no doubt. I'll try to get almost all these features in this week, in the next, actually by the weekend. This little app has grown into a big app, which is interesting. Man, the spelling, I don't know what it is, but my ability to type has taken a decline. Simultaneous. It. The MacBook Air. I think it's because I'm switching keyboards and my hands aren't like I've switched several keyboards several times. My hands have not caught up. Oh, this is an interesting thread. I'm just gonna read this. Someone had a really bad experience with the Wacom. I think it's the Wacom 114. We'll double check. I cannot recommend this to anyone unless the 3-in-1 DisplayPort converter Wacom brand does not work. What is this? He's talking about this thing. Yeah, I know this. This is, I think he's got the Wacom 114. Wacom. I'll have to read this. This is kind of complicated. Sometimes I wish people would just draw a picture of how they wanted to connect, and I'm like, okay, that'll help me out. Oh, on-screen shortcuts. Ah, now you're trying to... Oh, wow, I hadn't even thought about that. On-screen shortcuts. Let me ask a question. I mean, there are different on-screen shortcuts that exist. What would you want to see? I think it's possible. I don't think it's hard. That guy's going crazy. I don't think he wants any device. Just been discussing on the Discord. Okay, interesting. Okay, so he's in the Discord. Yeah, I can't figure out. Like I said, I just wish there was a diagram of what's going on here. And also, I don't see that he identified which Wacom one. Because I suspect he means the Wacom 114. But it's just not clear from the explanation. I can understand why someone would be frustrated, for sure. Oh, I better show this guy my video. He wants to give the Wacom one as an intro gift. So I've got a couple of documents here, which I think will help him. Wacom DTC 141. I didn't have my video here, which is interesting. I need to add the video. Okay. So I'll just paste it in there. I don't recommend the Wacom 114, by the way. Let me get that video in there. Wacom 114. I don't think people are going to watch tablet videos anymore, because I think they'll just ask the AI. We're going to try it out, maybe. No, that's not what I want. It's not a unboxing video. It's this one, yeah. Why would anyone watch a video I or anyone else make if they can just ask the AI what was said in the video and relative to what they need? We're done. We are cooked. We're cooked, as they say. Welcome one. Oh, gifting. Yeah, I have an article on gifting tablets. I'd like to make sure. Honestly, I don't recommend giving tablets as gifts. I would. They're a complex gift, and it's likely there's going to be unhappiness. Let's see. It is the 14. He shows the Amazon. Okay, got it. I missed that in the link. 14. Look, that had the potential to be a decent tablet. At least a worthy successor to the DTC. What was it? 133, right? Wacom 1 2019. It had all the makings of at least being a decent successor and a good entry-level tablet. And somehow, some decisions were made that really damaged that product. And for those of you who don't know, I'll just tell you what the problem is. The screen is fine. The pen is okay. It's not great. It's like a Samsung S Pen, okay? It's okay. It's decent build quality. But most people will need to connect with an HDMI cable to get a video signal. And this tablet has only one USB-C port, which I don't want to get into why, but that actually creates a problem. It requires a specific it requires an extra $100 for a converter box and cables to connect it to a typical computer. If your computer supports a USB-C cable, it just works fine. That's not a problem. But most people don't realize this because they buy this tablet for, I don't know, whatever the cost, and suddenly they realize they have to spend another $100 to connect to the computer most people have. What a disaster. What a disaster. Let's see, Bouncing Cactus, thanks for all your advice. Even though there are some alternatives, I think it sounds like Cintiq 24 Touch will be a great. I think so, honestly. I think so. Let's see, Dick says, I use them, for example, in Photoshop and ZBrush, we need much more shortcuts. This is the on-screen shortcuts. Yeah, I'll look at it. I don't think it'll be hard. I have, even before I was vibe coding, I had implemented something like this in Windows. It's not hard. It's not hard to do something like this. So I'll definitely check it out. Nothing decent would be called One by Wacom. One by Wacom, yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess. Wacom, I think, struggles with consumer level tablets because their older consumer level tablets, one by Wacom, are too good. Their newer ones are designed not to be competitive with their professional line. Meanwhile, the consumer tablets from other brands are way better than the Wacom consumer ones in terms of pens. Yeah, Wacom might still be reliable, but like, the pen experience is not great. It's not great, and it's difficult to see that. Some people won't notice. If you were drawing, if you're just whiteboarding, you wouldn't notice. Yeah, there's a lot of one by Wacom / Wacom ones. There are 5 different Wacom One models, 3 pen displays, 2 pen tablets, and there are 2 different 1x Wacoms. Actually, are there even more than 2 1x Wacoms? Are there some older ones that are actually 1x Wacom besides the X72 series? Let's skip this. Cintiq Pro Dead Pixel. The truth is, unless you have like a million dead pixels, oh wow, that's weird. Bright pixels on the right side, looking at solid. I don't know. These are too regular for being dead pixels, I think. What the hell? Wait a second. These don't look like dead pixels to me. They're. I mean, this is. I've never seen a panel fail like this. I would have guessed this was a. Oh, you can't see it, can you? Can you see it? You can't see it. Sorry. I would have guessed this was a. There are 4 1x Wacoms. Oh my god. Ah, CTL 471 and 671. Yeah, I thought I had seen a 1x Wacom. I couldn't remember where I'd seen that before. That wasn't the 7.2 series. I would have guessed this was a cabling issue. But Wacom support says, hey, this is a possible thing. Oh, they sent him a new unit. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. So it looked like there was a manufacturing issue. That's great. That's actually, I'm going to save this one because sometimes it's good to notice that you will get. It's everyone's greatest fear, right? You buy something expensive and like they're like, no, you just have to buy a new one. But they actually replaced the unit. That's fantastic. I'll give that an upvote. This person has a loose charging port. I wrote a doc on replacing USB port. Basically what I tell people is don't do it. Unless you're, an electronics expert, don't do it. It is possible, and I gave some links to videos and resources, but well beyond what a normal person can do. You'd have to just pay for it to happen, to get it fixed. All you can do is dry it out, my friend. You dipped it in water somehow. I have a document for everything. Every conceivable little thing with a drawing tablet. How do I fix? See if anything here helps. This is what I need AI to help me with. Just dealing with standard questions that I've already answered a million times. Need help, Cintiq 16. Lost pen. This seems complicated. I'll have to reread this. Oh, this person, which I use mini PCs, and I use the Wacom 24 Touch, so let's see what his problem is. Yeah, this is pretty typical. Touch features don't work well on Mac. That's totally true. I might add something. I might respond to this one later. Because I use mini PCs a lot. I have huge desktop machines that have 128 gigabytes of RAM, 64 gigabytes of RAM. I have switched to much smaller PCs, some of which have a lot of RAM too. Like 96 gigabytes or 64 or even just 32. But I think that the far better deal to get a small mini PC than a laptop if you're going to be sitting at a desk. What pens are compatible with the PTH? Okay, they answered. I think touch is, I don't know. I want to do basic things with it, it seems to work fine, but I just don't think it works great for the things. Nothing works as good as an iPad does. Let's put it that way. Like touch on an iPad, and that's I think one of the problems. People have experienced iPads, so you develop a sense of how touch should work. You might be unable to clarify it and explain it and write a spec for it, but you just have developed expectations. Your brain has developed this. And whatever those are, touch on Windows, touch with lots of devices just doesn't live up to it. Just on a PC. Maybe on a Samsung phone or a Samsung Galaxy Tab it does, but I don't think it's a thing you should develop on. But of course, people come with these expectations. When you compare it to native navigations and controls and props, touch sucks. I think Windows is pretty good at it. It's not perfect, but the reason I say Windows is definitely better than Mac is Microsoft has tried to bake in touch into Windows for a long time. Also pen support, but we see where that's gotten them. So the idea that Windows would be better on touch than Mac is, I think, well supported. It's not an afterthought. Windows is really designed for this, and the evidence of this is even the APIs, right? The WM. Now we're going to tech talk. To various extents, there's a unified API to deal with mouse, touch, and pen. That's the WM pointer API. I think there may be some other ones, but they tried to make it consistent. Now, have they succeeded? To some degree, I think they have. But the Mac doesn't do that, which is surprising because the iPad OS is really touch-centric and does it well. Okay, this person says, should I get a Wacom? He's got good answers, so lots of things. Wacom support says yes. No, they give an answer, but I'm gonna just reply with my buying guide here for this guy. Buying guide. See? Brands. Picking the right brand. I still love Wacom. I have Wacopium. But I just want them to be... just tweak a few things, honestly. I really, and I'm not joking when I say that. There are very few companies that have such a positive feeling about in terms of like warm memories and how long I've used them for decades. Remember my first Wacom I got in, I think it's either 1994 or 1995. So now you're dealing with 31 years. At the very least, it's 30 years. And that's a long time to be using something continuously. And that's a long time to go through everything they've ever released. And so, while they were not, I can't say they were part of my childhood. They were part of me being an early adult. And they were part of my tech journey, So I'm gonna rant about Wacom for a second. When I started with Wacom, this would have been like an Art Pad 2 or an Art Z. Computers then had if I recall correctly, like 4 megabytes of RAM. Like that, on the order of that, maybe 16 megabytes of RAM. And at that time, computer, at least none that I was aware of that were available, had 4K, and none were even 24-bit color. They're all like 16-bit color. And here today, no one ever uses 16-bit anything. But back then, it was like 16-bit color was the high-end standard. And screens were not big. So it's in that realm where I started using Wacom. And so tech grew up for me. My first really sort of semi-powerful computer with 4 megabytes of RAM, 16 megabytes of RAM was with Wacom. It wasn't a Wacom computer. I'm just saying I got it at the same time. So that's when I started using more powerful computers. And I would upgrade every time there was a new Wacom. So I was always so excited to see a new Wacom. I mean, I purchased the next model without even questioning anything. I saw it, I got it. And that's one of the reasons I used forced proportions for 20 years. Sorry, I didn't use forced proportions for 20 years because I bought things without thinking and without researching. Back then, there was no internet like we know today. So there was no capability to learn about things like we're doing now or chat about them because no one had a tablet, no one had internet even. Anyway, my point is, they're part of my life. And that's why I sometimes do express frustration because they were the only game in town. There was no other drawing tablet available. Even back then, it was, especially when they started the Intuos line, it was very clear you were getting something special. It wasn't just, a cheap, run-of-the-mill kind of device. It was something very special about it. No one had them. They let you do something you couldn't do otherwise. So when I see things like the Wacom One, which could actually be totally fine, but because of a decision about cabling is frustrating, it just makes me very sad. And this field is one that is the competitors could do an even better job of taking from Wacom. I sometimes think Wacom is just giving the competitors every opportunity to take share from them, right? Now, they've been fighting well in the last couple of years. Brad Kolba had a video last week or early this week where he talked about, Wacom just having 2025 or 2026 has been like a fantastic year. They had many amazing tablets, and they have. I agree with everything he said, but there are just a few misses in there. Unfortunately, good old brands are not always keeping their core values. I was a big fan of Logitech peripherals for decades. Oh yeah, you're right on, Nick. I was also a Logitech fan, yes, but now they just turned to dust. It is true. I had not as much as Wacom, but Logitech was definitely like. They had developed a sense of trust in me, and I can't say I haven't used the products so much, so I can't be too critical. But yeah, I've been super impressed. Great example: webcams. Their webcams are awful. They're truly awful, right? And they know that. They know their webcams are awful, and they're like, we're just gonna keep on making them bad. Do you know when when that thing hit, the pandemic, everyone had to get a webcam, and most people had a Logitech, and that C920 or something like that, which is like the most basic webcam you can have. Really not great lighting. Highlights got blown out. It was bad in the dark, but everyone had it, right? And they released the Brio, which is like a 4K thing. It's like, it was 4K, but it wasn't a better webcam. Right now, webcams are amazing. I'm just using that as an example. They keep releasing the same Brio type camera and sensor over and over. It's just not any good. It's a shame. Especially for a specialized device, And it's not like Wacom is cheap either. Their pro stuff is fantastic. We can disagree about the placement of buttons on the Intuos Pro 2025. It's their consumer stuff that they suffer with. I did talk to somebody who was from Wacom, who had left Wacom some years ago. And I was just talking casually with her. And she loved Wacom. By the way, I just want to make sure this is clear. She loved Wacom, but she had left. And she gave me a little bit of insight into, everyone's got a perspective, okay? And there can be multiple perspectives, and they're all true and all very different. That's just the nature of a complex, large company. Here's the sense I got from her. That what was important in the mind share of the leaders changed, or is no longer what it was. At least that was her perception, I guess. And I may be mischaracterizing what she said. But she did say specifically, leadership had gone more tech-focused, which sounds neutral and good, but also the way that's said, coming from my background, and she and I understood it the same way, is when you're building things, software, my experience in software, but I'm sure the same thing is true in hardware. You can have an organization which is tech-focused. Okay, let me give you a concrete understanding of what that means. This is just the 7 pens ranting hour now. I have seen this so many times, inside Microsoft, outside Microsoft, in all sorts of businesses that have nothing to do with tech, okay? There's a focus on what you can do and how cool it works or how cool the implementation is, and not whether it matters and not whether it's impactful, okay? I've had conversations, these are real conversations, I'm not making this up. Real conversations with people saying, effectively, hey, we're gonna take 5 people and have them work very hard for this year, doing a whole bunch of these 50 things. Okay, it's a huge list. Huge list, small list, doesn't matter. The point is they're very busy doing something. They're just occupied their time 24/7 building something. And I go, why did you choose these things to do? And I swear to you, the answer is, well, it'd be really cool. And we can do it. I'm not making this up. That was an actual conversation. And someone said that to me. It's really cool and we can do it. And I said, how can you elaborate for me? Can you tell me how it's going to make, how it's going to really impact our users? Like, what big problem is it going to solve for them? Or what delightful feeling is it going to create in them? Okay? At the end of the day, I am more primarily motivated by solving big problems than by making something work in a cool way. I do like good design, both UI as well as interesting implementations that are well thought out and robust and even clever. Okay, don't get me wrong. Don't get it twisted, as they say these days. Don't get it twisted. I love seeing clever and thoughtful designs. I do, really. But you can never lose sight of, honestly, who's paying the bills. And who's paying the bills are your customers. And it's only because they see value in what you're creating that you continue to get a salary. And so I always want to know when someone's building something, how is a customer going to react? Like, are they going to be like, if I want to see a customer be delighted, I want them to you show them the new product and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe you did it. Finally, this is going to save me months of work or hours every week. Or, oh my God, now I don't have to do all this crazy thing anymore. Or, wow, I didn't even realize I needed this. That's another fantastic thing a customer will tell you. They're like, I had no idea I needed this feature. Thank God you implemented it. Either one of those two things is fine. You can remove pain or you can delight. Or maybe there's some other thing, but you gotta do one of those things. Because customers don't care how it's implemented. They don't know how it's implemented. They don't have any visibility into it, right? Sorry, let's just see. I'm just ranting. Sounds like a joke. Let's train a goat to play a harmonic. But why? Well, it's going to look cool. That happens. That happens. Okay, so let me give you another example. Actually, it's not the same example, but it's similar in the sense of people can get organizations even can get wrapped up into weird thinking about the world and people, which is not based in reality. Okay, now let me give you and the way I'll give you this example, of course, it has to deal with AI. Okay, now I love AI. You know, I talk about it on this channel all the time, and I use it all the time, and I spend a lot of money on AI. I believe AI is going to transform lots of things. I think it's a valuable skill to learn. GIMP goat exercise function. It could happen. One of the best criticisms you could lob, and it's kind of a cultural criticism, right? Like you have a whole bunch of people. I don't want to name names. Like I don't want to name tech executives. Like, you know, just treat them as one set, right? And they're all totally hyped in, you know, they're all like, you know, banging the drum on AI. And I love AI. The best, or a very good criticism of these people and what they're saying is to just go back in time to about 2020, I don't know, 21, 2022, something like that, okay? And ask yourself, what were the CEOs of these major companies saying? What were they hyping back then, whenever it was? It was, and I do believe it was like 2021, 2022. What were they hyping? VR. VR and virtual spaces are going to transform the world as we know it. Everyone's going to be meeting in VR spaces and wearing AR glasses and having virtual things. And we're adding all these three-dimensional experience elements to Windows. How do you think Paint 3D got made? How did we justify that? They thought people were going to be doing a lot of 3D work, right? People thought that. I think that was also tied into the VR thing, you know, three-dimensional models, all these things. So these same people were totally invested in VR, AR, virtual reality. What were the products? What was the thing Microsoft had? The HoloLens, which I've never even touched a HoloLens. I've never even seen a HoloLens with my own eyes. You know why? I always knew a human being would never really want to put one on and wear it. And the field of view is not great, they told me. So I'm like, unless it's great, why would I ever use it? It's just like it's like a demo for 5 seconds. I can talk about other products like that as well. But these same people who are raving about AI, which I love, were also raving about VR in the same exact way. So, you know, they're not totally capable of maybe spotting what's the real impactful thing, right? So you got to take what they say with a grain of salt, because they're trying to change the market to make you buy more products or something, which they should do. That is their job. Metaverse, that's the word. Yes. The metaverse will be big soon, just around the corner, maybe next quarter or next. How much money has Meta? They renamed Facebook to Meta because of this, right? How much money has Meta? I don't want to throw this, but I was going to throw it and say, throw it. How much money has Meta thrown at metaverse stuff? How much? Do you know how many? Actually, let's go find out. I'm going to find out right now. How much money has Meta spent on metaverse? The number is shocking. Let me read out the number it's giving me, okay? This is an AI overview, of course. $80 billion. For whatever reason, I have, instead of talking about billions of dollars, when I was a little bit younger, I used to just gauge things in 2 billion units, okay? Because $2 billion will buy you a B-2 stealth bomber. It's actually a little more expensive, but you get the idea. And so $80 billion is it's 40 B-2 stealth bombers. You could wipe out a country with that. And what do you... There's a joke I used to say at Microsoft about a company that was acquired by Microsoft, okay? I'm not going to say the name of the company that was acquired because for whatever reason, but I'll use that same analogy with this metaverse, okay? Hold on a second. I gotta prepare myself for this. Because I find it so amusing myself. Do you know what the difference is between spending $80 billion on the metaverse versus spending $80 million on buying a cardboard box? You know what the difference is? You can still do something with a cardboard box. You can put stuff in it. It has some utility to life, right? It has more return on investment. The $80 billion cardboard box. I can put my pens in it. What can I do with the $80 billion investment in the metaverse? I'm sure some people got rich. That's not my point. My point is, what was the impact? Either to the company or to us. I'm sure they probably did actually get some useful IP. Maybe when we do have more tech, that's AR and VR, it'll be better for Meta. But what was the payoff, right? Okay, my meta point was, it's hard sometimes when you're in a tech world to know what really humans would do, okay? They're fickle. They don't know what they want. It takes time. Fashion, things are fashionable one year and not fashionable the next, right? Things go out of date, right? We're witnessing that now because of the AI thing. There was no one had a computer in the 80s, effectively. Some people had computers in the 90s. We started seeing computer programming jobs. I don't know, we could say even earlier than this, even in the 70s, right? But what was the heyday of computer developers? I won't say computer programmers or developers, right? What was their heyday? You could say it was the 90s. That's when the tech stocks took off. You could say it's the 2000s. You could say it's now, when the web took off. You could say after the social came around in the 2000s. And coding was a valued skill. You know what? It potentially right now, because of AI, we might see the end of a phase of valuable skills. I said that in a bad way. We may not need 1 million coders. I'm not saying we won't need any, but we may not need as many as we have. The era where it was interesting to code the way we used to may be ending. Again, that doesn't mean no one's going to code. It may mean what was really interesting to code is no longer interesting. When I was young, it was interesting to write any app because there were no apps. You understand? There just weren't any. You had an operating system that had a file system, and some of them didn't have file systems. So anything you did with it was like, wow, revolutionary and creative. But now, just writing an app, writing an OS is like, so what if you did it manually? Is anyone using Temple OS? Okay, let's see. With AI, I feel like these companies are in some ways unintentionally running a charity. All of their advancements from this crazy investments are getting gobbled up by open source models a while. Yeah, well, there you go. That's a fascinating, that's a really good point, right? All this stuff seems to, we're already seeing, I forgot what the latest model is by Z. So it's a Chinese company. They made some other model. But the point is, like, open source models are, they're lagging. These frontier models are built by, Anthropic, but like they're catching up too, right? I mean, it's not as if other countries and companies aren't going to keep on just innovating just because Anthropic is doing well. And any company that can set up shop with open source models for relatively little investment in infrastructure, that's right. Whereas these big companies are going absolutely insane with investment. The investment's crazy. The only parallel I can think of for this kind of investment and I didn't study this. This is like really I didn't work in this field exactly, at least not at the time, is I believe in the early 90s, thereabouts, in the United States was a massive investment in fiber. And the way it was explained to me is like, oh, well, yeah, telecom companies invested in running fiber everywhere, and people invested money in telecom companies, but there was no payback on that. They dug a lot of trenches and put cables, but there was nothing came of it. Now, 20 something years later, we're really happy there's fiber everywhere, right? So sometimes it takes a while to pay off. But in a sense, that massive investment did pay off, at least to some degree, right? AI, I think it'll pay off, but the numbers are just, it seems like much more, right? The amount being spent seems crazy, right? By the way, I don't mean to say it as a criticism. It's highly unusual to me, right? When I worked at Microsoft, I worked in a team that had to deal with a large fleet of machines in a data center, many data centers, okay? And just buying the machines and keeping them powered on was, a very large number with a lot of zeros. Okay, I think it was like, I don't know the exact number, but let's just say it was $1 billion a year, right? Just to have the hardware there. And it's a number on that order, right? $1 billion. And we thought that was expensive, but the AI stuff is just nuts. $1 billion a year is now considered like, what do you? So you're not seriously in the game if you're spending just $1 billion a year. AR time has not come yet. It will come eventually. All that fancy cyberpunk stuff. But for now, our tech is not there yet. VR helmets are very bulky and limited for now. I think AR, okay, look, as a glasses wearer, I do want AR glasses. I really do, right? I'll give you a perfect example. I'm talking to you, I'm actually looking at a teleprompter, and I record videos, sometimes with my face, and sometimes I need to just refer to information and talk to you, but look at you, right? I would love if I had notes floating out here where I can see them, but you can't see the notes, right? It would help me do interviews with people. It would help me just go through my material, right? Because I can see the stuff. It might even help me do certain tasks, right? Here's a classic one for me. If I'm doing something technical, like physical, and there's a user manual, I am always just like doing this business, right? I cannot remember the next step. I'm always like, move this here, I read the next paragraph, like I'm just like that. Seeing the instructions next to where I'm doing, that might actually save me some time. Doing delicate operations, being guided, delicate sort of movements of things, that could be helpful. Street navigation, yeah, absolutely. Like I get lost pretty easily, it turns out. But there's uses for that kind of AR for me. I'm just giving you some just very trivial examples. I'm hoping we get something. Now, do I see myself, dealing with AR pets on my desk? No, I don't see that happening. VR helmets, I don't think anyone wants to wear a VR helmet for real. Okay? The only people I know who are productive with like VR or AR in their helmets are like fighter pilots with their, what do they call it? Sensor fusion? Is that right, Nick? Where they can like see like through the plane with the cameras that are on the outside of the plane, which is wild. That's wild. That's useful, I guess, if you're a fighter pilot. Saul says, have you heard anything about the development of Blender for iPad? I haven't lately. I don't use Blender, so I don't keep up with it. Nick says, we got it. You want those Mantis Blade implants in your arms tomorrow, like in Cyberpunk trailer. I'm a non-violent person. I don't want Mantis Blades. I don't like the idea of replacing body parts with weird mechanical things. I think that's, I don't see humans would really do that. It doesn't matter how cool it is, it would not be something you would choose to do. I know there's several cyberpunk-like sci-fi stories. Obviously, cyberpunk is one of them. Deus Ex is also one of them, right? In Deus Ex, there are people who they have augmentations. They're called augs. That's a major plot point in Deus Ex. I don't think people would ever do that. Like replace their eyes with some piece of metal. That's obviously a piece of metal. Lab-grown organs, sure, that I guess could happen. Google Lens Live, yes, that is a fantastic example. Google Lens Live Translate is a nice example of AR. It's not cyberpunk, but pretty fun. Yeah, that's the kind of thing I'm looking forward to. And yes, as a glasses wearer, I'm already signed up to wear these. You give me a slightly chunkier thing that can like help me do more with my life, I am right there for it. I have no problem with it. And I'm not even talking about having floating monitors or things, right? Something just that assists me doing my tasks, right? Something that would help me avoid an accident while I'm driving. Something that would help a surgeon operate on me. Simple things, right? I think that, that is something that people, look, no one wants to look uncool. So, a big bulky thing, no one's going to wear. But was it the watch? People wear. Glasses, people will wear. No one has a problem with glasses. But yeah, anything bulky, no one wants to look uncool. I think we'll experience more and more. Actually, let me back up for a second. There's something I've always wanted to do, which is AR related. I've every now and then I look through AR stuff because I kind of want to see if I can make a video that uses AR to some effect that's useful for me. So let me give you a great example, which is I'll just use this iPad for a second. This iPad, sometimes you can imagine I take a video of it, right? And you've probably seen this effect in games where the character's walking around and there's like, I don't know what you call it. There's a term for this in music exactly. But like there's something displayed like, it'll say like blah, 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 chapter 1. And it's displayed as like text floating in the air, but it's for you, the viewer, but not, the character can't see it. It's just for you to understand where you're at. Games do this sometimes. They're like, oh, this is almost like a title card in a way, but it's in the environment. I wanted to see if I could get an intro to a video to use that and actually use it for something useful, right? Like for example, when I show you the tablet, show the specs in the video floating above the tablet. Yeah, it's kind of a triviality, but that could be cool. We need better batteries first. That is a good point. I always forget that is a limiting factor for so much. Latest gen smartphones can run some live AI functions like live translations, but we don't have fuel to make high CPU power truly mobile. Yes. I just as a trivial example, because you mentioned fuel. I was researching something and I stumbled upon some article that talked about it talked about the energy of gasoline, okay? And they said, we think about, like a gallon of gas as being very energy, there's a lot of energy there. But if you've ever been in a thunderstorm and been seeing lightning and you see lightning hit the ground or go up, I don't know which way it goes, you would intuitively think the lightning is, because it's so loud, so bright, fills the sky. That is very powerful. And then I was researching, and I found some articles that said, well, I'm probably got the number wrong, but it's kind of like this. The average lightning bolt contains as much energy as like a thimbleful of gasoline. Okay? which just shows you how much energy is in a thimble full of gasoline. They said, yeah, that's the average lightning bolt, not the largest ones. But there's a lot of energy in fuel. There's a lot of energy in fuel that we don't have in batteries. We need batteries that don't become e-waste after 2 years. I thought all batteries get recycled. Well, I shouldn't say all, but I thought for things like iPads and things, they're very good about recycling them, Cube. I thought that they're like sort of secondary industries that do nothing but tear these devices apart, strip them down so you get things like the metal, the gold out of it, I guess. And actually, you know what? I don't know. Maybe I've always taken it on assumption that batteries are recyclable. But you didn't. I don't know much about batteries, to be honest. The only thing I really know about batteries is I don't fully trust electric vehicles yet. Because I was a volunteer firefighter, and I did put out several fires in cars, vehicular fires. And I've read some, what do you call it? NTSA? I forget, not NTSA. I can't remember. The organization that deals with like vehicle safety. An analysis of like fires in electric vehicles and like how different they are. And how they can spontaneously catch fire days after the fire's gone. And you have to put water on them differently. They don't ignite the same way. And God knows what kind of fumes come out of them compared to gasoline. So I'm scared of that reason. Let's see, lithium batteries are hard to recycle. Some batteries are much more recycled than others. Got it. Okay, I forget. There's not like one monolithic battery type. I totally forgot about that. Okay, let me see what's going on more on Reddit. Let's see. Got kind of distracted. Okay, I gotta talk about this. This guy, I couldn't believe this. Of all the posts, answer my Wacom FML. Look at this, and this picture is famous. This guy posts it. #1 comment from me, by the way. Huh, that's weird. Someone had the exact same photo with the ants in the exact same position 3 years ago, and I linked to that, right? Why would you even bother farming karma for this? It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And you know what's funny is? Another bot. Let me show you this. This is absolutely the worst insect infestation of a pen display I've ever seen. This comment, I made that comment 3 years ago. So there's another bot, I guess in cahoots with the first bot, copying comments from old Reddit threads. And this, I'm gonna give this guy an upvote. Yeah, I already did. Is that crazy? Why do people do this? Okay, Nick says, have you seen that American guy from China telling about their EV cars problems? No, I haven't seen that, Nick. If you have the link, please share. I will be happy to take a look at that. Lots going on. Okay, I think we are just, I think I got over my demo, which is good. I am going to wind down the stream and get back to coding. I've got a lot of little things that people have made good suggestions about. So I think, Nick, I'm going to try to get that application feature to bind the keys by this weekend. Okay? That's going to be one of my top goals in the next 3 days. And I think I can do it. I think I can make it happen. And we'll address some of the other feedback. But by that time, everything should just work. We should just have a relatively functional tablet driver. Well, that's a bad way of putting it. we should have a relatively friendly tablet driver experience for artists in just a few days, right? And then I'll ask people to test it out. I haven't really asked people to do that quite yet. It is publicly available on my GitHub under OpenTabletArtist. But as we saw in this stream, it just needs a little more polish, a few more edge cases to be addressed. And I think then it'll be ready. So yeah, hopefully by this week I'll say, hey, people, try it out. Okay, with that, everyone, thanks for joining the stream. I totally appreciate it, and I'll see you all soon, okay? Thanks again.